And welcome into Gator Bytes on the 1010XL.com podcast network, also being simulcast on the Florida Gator 1010XL Facebook page. Today's Gator podcast is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. For the highest quality care, you can rely on Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for any orthopedic injury or concern. And be sure to check out their website, se-ortho.com. He is Dylan Denmark. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. You are Florida Gator fans going through a very rough patch right now in this football season. 1-3, I guess mercifully. There is a bye week tomorrow before the Texas Longhorns come to Gainesville a week from Saturday. And Denmark, I mean, look, all week on our radio station across Gator Nation, it's been fire Billy Napier, who's going to replace Billy Napier, and we might get to that briefly. But we thought we might try something a little different. Maybe just take a broad picture look at the first four games, take a look at the next three, talk about the fact that Billy is not giving up play calling, and talk about the fact that DJ Lagway, once again reportedly, is in a walking boot. Did I cover everything there?
Yeah, does this seem like everything we talked about? I don't know, the start of the season in a boot. How is Napier going to call plays? I mean, it's the same old hack. You've watched football longer than I have. I've been watching Gator football for the last 20 years. I'm only 27. Um, that performance on offense that they put together last week against Miami is an all-timer of how bad that offense performance was. And I know you can say the bowl game against Vegas, which I really don't care about. I don't think anybody really does. You know, a lot of opt-outs and, bowl games now are irrelevant unless you're in the playoff. The Georgia Southern game was bad, but this was a game where you're playing an in-state rival, a game you're not going to play. Who knows next time you're going to play Miami? And it's one of those games where you didn't play well against LSU, you didn't play well against USF, and it's like, okay, you can get back and get a little groove, even if you don't win the game. You can get a groove and look to something for the next couple of weeks. 140 yards, you can't convert a single third down conversion, one first down in the first half. Pathetic would be a word to describe that offense performance.
It's atrociously bad. Everybody's over it. Everybody's done with it. Everybody wants change. Change is not going to come for at least another 3 weeks to a month, if not the rest of the season. Again, if they're going to replace Napier at this point, it would probably be after Mississippi State and before Georgia, because that's the second bye week of the year. We'll see. First four games, it's been all negative, right? For the most part. Denmark, is there anything positive that you can take out of the first month of the season here in 2025?
The defense is good, but it's irrelevant because your offense can't do anything. I mean, when your offense scores one touchdown each in the last three games, I mean, there's not really much the defense can do to help you win a game. And Napier was talking in his teleconference yesterday. He's like, as a team, we're trying to improve and in every aspect and yada yada yada. It's like, dude, your defense is like really good. It's only your offense that you control the plays, and you're the quarterback coach, and none of those things are good. Um, and then Mark Long asked him immediately following up. He goes, "Are you still calling plays?" Correct. And it's one thing to see the transcript, but if you hear him talking, he just looks like he's so overwhelmed. He's lost right now. He's a deer in the headlights.
Yeah,
Um,
and at the post game press conference against Miami, he was talking about reasons they lost the game, and he said, "Well, we had trouble getting off the field on third down on defense." Well, no kidding. When your defense is out there the entirety of the first half
that's
because you
comical.
can't functionally pick up a first down,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say your defense probably did have trouble getting off the field on
Uh,
third down. Complete and total nonsense.
Yes, that's beyond ridiculous. And I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things where a couple weeks ago, I listen to a lot of what Matt Hayes says, and because he has boots on the ground in Gainesville, and contrarian to what most people are saying, just as noise on the outside. And he said that Napier's probably not going to get fired in the middle of the season. He's going to coach the whole way because Strickland likes him, yada, yada, yada. Hack, if this continues to be where you score one touchdown a week and you can't get anything going on offense, eventually, I was watching on Netflix the Hurricane Katrina documentary. The levee's going to break eventually with this defense because they're not going to carry you the entire way. When that happens, these close games that you're seeing, the levee's going to break defensively, and you're going to see 30, 40-point blowouts. And oh, by the way, was it 2 of your next 3 games are at home? You were on the road at LSU and at Miami. You're going to get booed like no other at home these next couple weeks if you continue to do what you did the last couple weeks.
For the people that are there.
Yeah. Oh, and
right?
people are going to be there, whether it be, Texas fans are going to show up because they've never been to Florida or it's been, whatever, 60 years. And, Mississippi State's good right now. They're 4-0. So, yeah.
You know what I almost equate it to? It's like the Titanic has hit the iceberg, and the captain, just goes into the driver vessel there and just goes down with the ship. That's what Napier's doing with the play calling. And look, I'm not smart enough to know who needs to call the plays on that staff. I'm available, right? You're available. My mother, my wife, my 6-year-old son. I would take anybody at this point. I don't. I honestly mean this, and I very rarely, say this in a real life manner. Usually, it's a joking, tongue in cheek. But Denmark, I'm 100% serious. I think the average person watching Gator Bytes right now, if they are a college football fan, if they are a Florida Gator fan, I expect them to be because they're watching us. I don't think the average person could have done a worse job calling plays last week than Billy Napier did. And I really, really mean that.
No, I mean, ask yourself, and I hate doing this because I'm a high school coach and I have a lot of respect for the coaching industry, but I think a lot of people would have had more than 30 yards of offense in the first half. I mean, that was what he did. And I think a lot of people would have gotten more than one first down, and they would have gotten more than 30 yards in the first half.
It's just pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. I mean, the bye week and the vibe I get. Here's the sad part. And I was thinking about this actually last week before Miami. I think I mentioned this on Gator Bites last week. So I had Leon Searcy on, former Miami national champion, 3-time national champion at the Hurt with the U. Obviously, former Pro Bowl Jacksonville Jaguar. He's with us on 1010XL here in Jacksonville. I do the 5th quarter with him after the Jaguar games. I had him on to talk Jacksonville and Houston leading into last week. And it didn't even dawn on me until after the interview that I didn't even ask him about the Florida and Miami game. That's how much of like an afterthought it was to me then. The Texas Longhorns are coming to Gainesville for the first time in decades. That should be an enormous deal. But because Florida and Billy Napier have essentially just destroyed this season for Gator fans and ruined it, it's just like a lot of people are just going to think it's an afterthought, particularly when you consider the Jaguars have Monday Night Football next week and you got Florida State Miami next week in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the games where I know a lot of Gator fans, including myself. It's one of those where, okay, you have the schedule, you have a lot of good games at home this year, not as much as last year, but you still have a decent amount of home games. Tennessee, Texas, and Florida State. And this is the one game where a lot of Gator fans, they said, okay, if I could go to one game this year, it'd be this one. And you're thinking, okay, if you split LSU, Miami, Florida's probably going to be in the top 15. Texas is probably going to be good. They might have one loss to Ohio State. And now it's just like, boom, it's completely irrelevant. I mean, before the season had, these tickets were $300. And now I haven't looked at what the tickets are now for Florida and Texas. And it's like, I don't, if you go to the game, it's like, I wonder what your mindset as a Gator fan is. It, okay, is this ticket going to be the last time I see Napier? Is this ticket because I want to see how god awful this offense is? Because obviously you are not buying the ticket and going to the game expecting to win.
No. Honestly, I mean, look, this sounds crazy to say, and I think they will. Keyword is think. Are they going to win again this year?
I don't
I mean,
know.
look at that schedule. How many wins are on that schedule in the next 8 games?
This feels pretty pretty close to what Florida State did a year ago. And it's like, remember they played Memphis, and we were like, this might be their game. And I'm like, I don't. This is what this is like, and a lot worse. I mean, Mississippi State's undefeated. Texas, even though Arch Manning has not looked right, he started to catch his groove against Sam Houston State, which actually means a lot because he couldn't do anything, to get a groove in his first couple of games.
I mean, they're not going to Texas A&M and winning. They're not
No,
going to Ole Miss and winning.
no, Ole Miss is going to put up 50. You're
Georgia's
not
going to
beating.
kill them.
Yeah, you're not going to beat Georgia. Then Tennessee's going to put up 100, and then Florida State looks really, really good. There's not a game where even if you sit there and say, okay, if the other team doesn't play particularly well and we play a B game, and I mean speaking B as in like an offense, that we have a shot of beating them. It's like there's not one team that you feel confident of what I just said you could beat that team on that night.
Today's Gator Bytes podcast is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. For the highest quality care, you can rely on Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for any orthopedic injury or concern. Check out their website, se-ortho.com, and you can listen for Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, the good Dr. Kevin Murphy, Thursday mornings on the drill with Jeff and Dan for his weekly analysis of injuries in the world of sports. All right, Billy Napier, that's a done deal. It's a matter of if, or it's a matter of when, not if. Having said that, DJ Lagway is not above criticism here either. You know, people say, well, he's not healthy, he's not right. I mean, okay. He's been awful. You know, is he awful because of Napier's play calling? Probably. Is he awful because he's not 100%? Perhaps. But to my knowledge, Denmark, those NIL checks are still clearing, right? He's still getting. This isn't like 10, 15 years ago, right? When you don't want to rip a college kid. I mean, DJ Lagway is a very wealthy man going out there and putting performances down like that. That's going to start rubbing people the wrong way as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was 3 weeks ago. It was a conversation of, okay, do you put Tramel Jones in because your quarterback looked horrible against USF and you threw 5 interceptions in a game against LSU? And I'm like, it's still a little early. You know, he might circle the wagons against Miami. Well, that's not the case.
He looks broken. He looks lost.
He looks lost. He looks like he didn't practice at all in this offseason. We talked about, him not playing in the spring. And I didn't think him not playing in the spring was a big deal because I figured, okay, after the spring, he took a couple snaps. He's going to be ready to go May, June, July, and August. Okay, well, that was not the case. He was in a boot to start camp. As a play caller, you can tell how a play caller feels about their quarterback and their offense, the way they call plays sometimes. Napier and Lagway, they have not called a deep ball maybe but one time, and I'm not including the Long Island game. When they threw that post that got intercepted against USF, that's the only time I can remember, and against Eugene Wilson at the end when he threw in triple coverage, where you truly threw a deep ball down the field. You have all these receivers that can run a 4.4, 4.3 40, and it's like, what's the point of having all these guys if you're just going to throw within 10 yards every single play? Lagway has been horrible. Probably the worst quarterback in the SEC, which none of us saw at 4 weeks into the season. I'm at the point, Hack, where the season feels lost, and if I have to cover a team for the next 8 weeks, I want to see something different, and that something different is Tramel Jones at quarterback.
Well, and here's the thing, too, and this is going to be the conversation that's going to start. When Napier's gone, there's probably a pretty good chance Lagway is going to be gone, too. He's going to want a fresh start. He's going to go somewhere else. I would be pretty surprised, quite frankly, if DJ Lagway was the quarterback at Florida in 2026. The coach that recruited him will be gone. The staff will be gone. He'll have a lot of residue from the negativity this year. He'll probably want to get out of here and start somewhere fresh. With that thought process, and again, Napier has no loyalty. That's why it's, him having the job is not good to me right now because he's not going to think this way. But from a Gator fan point of view, Do you want to see Tramel Jones, knowing Lagway's probably not going to be back in 2026?
I mean, if your thought process is I Lagway has to play because I don't want to see him gone next year, it's kind of lunacy. There's a transfer portal. I mean, how many quarterbacks have we seen the last couple of years leave one school, go to another, and just boom, go right away? John Mateer at Oklahoma. I mean, you can go on and on and
I
on.
mean, Cam Ward, Carson Beck in back-to-back years.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. And to think that the new coach that comes in can't get his own quarterback and have them perform right away. Um, yeah, I mean that's just the new trend of college football. That your coach probably gonna be an offensive guy. He's gonna want to bring in his own guy. If Lagway stays cool, but this isn't going to be one of those things where, well, we can't get rid of the guy because hopefully the quarterback will stay. Nah, that's not the case.
I mean, tell me if I'm overstating this. I'd be shocked if Lagway was back in 2026, assuming Napier and the staff is gone.
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 7 right now. If I'll be 7 being, I would be surprised if he comes back.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to start thinking with that mindset. Another thing too, and maybe this is play calling. Let's just blame everything on Billy, or maybe a little Lagway.
No,
But
it's both.
remember the entire offseason how great this offensive line was supposed to be. Oh, this offensive line's the best offensive line Florida's had in years. They got a couple of first rounders on there, and that may be the case. Slaughter and Barber may be first round talents. That offensive line's been putrid this year. I mean, really, really bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to blame that on the not one but two offensive line coaches that you have on the staff, because here we at the University of Florida we don't name defensive coordinators, we don't name offensive line coaches, we don't have a special teams coordinator, we have a game changer. But we're really reinventing the wheel at the University of Florida because that's what we do. Yeah, it's horrible, and I still one of the things, I mean, there's going to be many things when Billy Napier gets let go. One of the things that's going to be horrible that I'm not going to be able to get over is that you couldn't beat USF at home and you were out physicaled by them in the second half when everyone had the thought that you could just run the ball because you are much better than the other team, and you couldn't even do that against a team where they're in state and you don't recruit those kids that play at that school at South Florida. The whole thought of that week was, oh, if the offensive Lagway can get a roll and you just run the ball, you win by 14, you get out there, you move on to LSU. That wasn't the case. Instead, you come out of the second half and you go 3 and out. Yeah, this offensive line is bad. I mean, you still have one of the best running backs in the league, in the conference, in ball.
That you don't use.
Well, yeah, you don't use, and we all know, we've all watched football long enough. A running back is useless without at least a decent offensive line. If you don't have a good offensive line, you can't run.
And if we're going to pile on here, let's just pile on. And again, this I don't think has anything to do with Napier. Maybe it's good old-fashioned bad luck. But doesn't it seem like every year Florida just gets decimated by injuries? Like we'll look at a practice report and 3 guys will be in boots and 2 guys will be in air casts, and then the games come around and ACLs go and high ankles. I mean, is that just good old fashioned bad luck year after year after year? Because I'm telling you, man, it's unbelievable how many injuries this team has had in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, injuries are going to happen when you play good physical teams. I know LSU's offense isn't really the best, but their defense is really good, and they're a physical team, as well as Miami, especially up front. This feels like hasn't got to that point, but was it Muschamps last year when Florida lost to Georgia Southern? They won whatever it was, 3 or 4 games that year, and it was like you had like almost 10 starters. This feels like it is on that path of being that way. You lost Dejon Johnson, corner, Dallas Wilson. I mean, to start the show, here's some good news for you, Hack. Dallas Wilson might be back for whatever that's worth next week.
All right.
Woo. Let the church say amen. Yeah, there's a lot of injuries on this team, and it's just one of those things where you got to be next man up because the train's not stopping the next 8-9 weeks.
All right, let's wrap it up. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist brings you Gator Bytes, 1010XL.com, and the Florida Gator 1010XL Facebook page for the greatest and the highest quality care out there. Go to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, se-ortho.com. Great folks over there at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, including our buddy, the good Dr. Kevin Murphy. And again, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, we thank them for their continued support here of the Gator Bytes podcast. Um, Great week of football, and quite honestly, Denmark, I'm looking forward to not having to watch Billy Napier's offense. I mean, that's where we are. Uh, it's the last Saturday of September, and I'm over it. I don't even care. I'm happy I don't have to watch the absolute nonsense that is Florida's offense. I actually get to watch Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Mississippi State. People that actually are entertaining to watch. I'm really looking forward to that tomorrow.
No, tomorrow really starts tonight. FSU Virginia. There's another game I forget on Fox, and then tomorrow, a great slate of games starting from noon all the way to 7:30. This is the best slate of college football we've had since week one, and this is probably better. One of the games you didn't include was Penn State Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon's going to the wide out. I hate that Penn State Oregon's the same time as Georgia Alabama because those are two games that I'm probably most intrigued to watch. Great slate of games, and I'm probably going to consume damn near all of it as a college football fan. I'm with you. I'm glad Florida's not playing tomorrow. I don't have to devote 3.5 hours to watching, a bad product of football. I'm not going to watch good football or whatever I want to watch during that time frame all day tomorrow.
I will watch a nauseating amount of college football tomorrow. I'm almost embarrassed of how much college football I'm going to watch tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. And again, the good news is we don't have to see Florida set college football offenses back decades with their complete and total nonsense, like gaining 30 yards of offense in an entire first half last week against the Miami Hurricanes. All right, final thought. Texas next week. We'll be here to preview it. Florida's going to get crushed, right? I mean, I'll go ahead and give you my prediction 8 days out. I'm not picking Florida to win that game next week.
Yeah, you and every other person. The only question is, will his defense hold up for another week? Because I, just like many people, don't believe this offense can change. I don't know. Good teams don't really get bad on one side of the ball and then come out all of a sudden and get really well off a bye week. Usually a bye week, you have some guys heal up. You can put in, a couple more wrinkles. But by the way, Texas has the same thing. I think Texas has a bye tomorrow as well. So, you're on even playing field. Not expecting anything from the offense, and hopefully the defense can make it a competitive game and not make it a blowout by the middle of the second quarter.
Well, the good news is when Billy Napier holds his press conference on Monday, we're going to hear about how close they are. They're only a few plays away from being 4-0. They're competing. The organization is good. It's a solid unit. They're getting rid of the outside noise, and they're going to go and battle against Texas. You wouldn't expect anything less. And then the game's going to happen, and they're going to lose by 20, and we'll be able to preview Texas A&M, where they will lose by another 20, and this will just continue. This absolute ridiculousness will continue until Scott Strickland decides to do something about it. That is Dylan Denmark. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. Thank you for watching and listening to Gator Bytes right here on 1010XL.com and the Florida Gator 1010XL Facebook page.